Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I Am Christina DiArcangelo. With me today, folks, I'm so excited to have Tiffany Watkins to our show today. For all of you watching and then obviously listening, to those of you that just want to listen, I think that you're going to be super excited about today's show because Tiffany Watkins is someone that you want to know, everyone. Trust me. Tiffany Watkins is the founder of Vanguard Media Online. She has a whole repertoire of skill sets and companies she works with, for, etc., because she does do some consulting, just so you know. And I'm proud to say she recently joined the Affinity Patient Advocacy Board of Directors. We are so blessed to have you here today, Tiffany. Why don't you let everybody know a little bit about yourself? I always like the guests to explain themselves better because I know, as we were talking before we came on, when people try to describe me and the stuff it's just so, it's better to hear it from your mouth.
I completely understand. And thank you so much for having me on. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be here with you today. Well, everyone, like Christina said, I am Tiffany Watkins, and I'm the founder and CEO of Vanguard Media Online. It is a platform for women in the cannabis space. My cannabis advocacy and involvement spans just a little over 3 decades. I think I'm in year 31 of this wonderful world we call cannabis. And, just like Christina said, I consult with businesses and I sit on a few committees and a few boards. I'm very proud to be a part of her lovely patient advocacy board. It's where my passion lies in cannabis and plant medicine, is advocating for patients. I really do believe in medical choice. So I'm incredibly honored to be able to work with her. Yeah, I mean, cannabis for me is more than a lifestyle. It's more than a wellness plan. It is the future of what our pathways to health look like, in my opinion. I always like to say that's my opinion. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much. See, everyone, she did some justice there. But I want to thank you personally, because we work together very closely. Vanguard, you, Tiffany, and the rest of the board, the whole month of May for Mental Health Awareness Month. And this was the first time, other than cancer, different types of cancers, that Affinity Patient Advocacy, my God, I can't even say it myself, good grief, um, came out really, really, really strong. I envision us doing more of this, but mental health awareness for our board, and especially for all the patients that we've been helping, the COVID long haulers and all the various patients that come before us. Mental health is an issue that every single patient comes to us with. They may come to us with cancer, and that's originally how we started that organization. But beneath cancer is anxiety, potentially depression, all these variables, right? And what if they had a mental health illness prior to the diagnosis of whatever it is that they have now that they come to us for? It's our job, and in my opinion, our duty to help them in the fullest capacity. So Vanguard was behind us. Vanguard Media was behind us the entire month, constantly sharing. Tiffany's team has been amazing to work with. This is the first time, other than when I did my article with Vanguard Media a couple of months ago, this was the first time I got to see how her team works. And let me tell you, they're a well oiled machine. They just go, they know what they're doing. They're representative of women in cannabis. I am so blessed to be part of your tribe, Tiffany, as a woman in cannabis working alongside you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, and my team does do an incredible job of outreach and support in the community. I mean, I could have it no other way. To represent Vanguard is to represent the unity that was built by the cannabis industry. Sorry, by the cannabis community that we've bridged into industry. And, it's more than just a media platform. It's a movement. It's a movement for change for women in this space. We will not be forgotten about. And with our shows of support to others just strengthens our position in that. And I'm so glad that my team is able to demonstrate that. They bring personification of the mission to the movement.
I got to tell you, and thank goodness you know me, so you know I'm not a cornball, but you saying that, I could feel like literally I had chills. Thank God the viewers can't see my pants because it's not as nice as my top. But I could feel chills going up and down my legs when you said that. I don't know if you saw me reach down, but that was why, because I immediately just felt that. And I hope everybody that's listening and viewing us really recognizes the passion and the commitment that you have in the industry, not just to cannabis. It's kind of like a V. I kind of, no pun intended, because we're women, but who would have thought I came up with that? But it's like a V. You have the cannabis and then you have the women. And then here we are, right? And I think it's just so powerful. You have been 3 decades in. I haven't been nearly in it as long as you have been. And I've learned things from you constantly when I see things come up, things you say to us when we're at the board or when we're just interacting like we were today before we got on today. I think it's really important that people understand how passionate you are about what you're doing and what you're trying to do. So I believe I saw a post come up a week or so ago about Woman of the Year, right? Isn't it Woman of the Year in cannabis? I didn't want to flub that up.
No, you did perfect.
But would you like to tell everybody about that? Because I think it's important.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, we're doing our first Woman of the Year celebration awards ceremony. Nominations were a couple of months ago and voting just closed, and everything's being tallied by the community, and the winner will be selected and announced at our 7/10 Dab Day celebration. And we chose that because, as we celebrate 420 all the time, we might as well celebrate 7/10. We didn't make it up. This is long and tried and true. We're going to celebrate oil, and we're going to have a little education, compliance, and then we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Have some session rooms where there'll be some dabs for people to learn more about temperature control and just how to get the best experience. And there's a few surprises in store. We'll be doing a live podcast through there. And most of all, everyone who purchases a ticket, not only are you a part of the celebration, but you are entered into our raffle. We will be ending that day with a raffle that is a huge prize. We'll be announcing the dollar amount, but it is a huge prize for that very lucky person who gets the right number with their ticket, right? But I think most importantly, at some time, and we haven't determined when because we want that to be a surprise, we are going to kind of interrupt the show and we're going to do this massive award ceremony for that one special woman who has demonstrated advocacy, the help of health and wellness in her community, and by her community's voice, named her Vanguard Media Online's Woman of the Year. And she's going to be receiving a wonderful gift, as almost as wonderful as she is. And so we are super excited about that entire event that is happening Saturday, July 10th, 2021, 7/10 Dab Day. Come hang out with us.
Once again, I don't know if you saw, I got chills now on my arm. I swear, this never happens, you guys. I mean, Tiffany has been on multiple calls with me over, I don't know how long. And I'm never impacted by this so much because it's so important. It's so important to recognize someone's very hard work, especially a woman. This is the time for us to rise up. We've worked hard. We deserve to be there. We deserve to be there. And it's really important, especially in the cannabis industry, where, I can say a lot, but I don't want my production team to yell at me.
Well, since I'm on this side of the screen, I don't know if they'll yell at me so much, but there are some differences made between men and women in the space. Not unlike other industries that we have. Our current industry structures are built on men first. And so we have an opportunity. That's the way I like to look at it. We have an opportunity with this new burgeoning cannabis industry to not make those same mistakes and to have equality, equity, and fairness in the workplace and socially. We have an opportunity to do that, and it's in our hands. Mm-hmm. And so, as leaders, if we're not willing to step out there and make these types of changes, then we are doomed to just have this space be like every other space. And I think we could do better. I think we do a lot better.
I think so too. We can do better. And I think also inclusion among women is important, right? Because you and I have both worked on, in different industries, in different environments over our careers. This isn't our first rodeo, clearly. And we've seen pitfalls of this going on over there. So why not be better, right? Here we are trying to destigmatize the healing properties of a plant. That's number one. Number two, we're trying to educate, right? The powers of the plant, how it can help you medicinally, mind, body, soul. There's so many things we could say about cannabis. So we're trying to do that, and we're trying to put it out there. But then we also need to remember, as we put that out and we embrace the plant and all the therapeutic healing benefits and how it can help people, we need to help ourselves, ladies. We need to band together, just like Tiffany and I did. We didn't know each other. We met through a mutual friend who said, hey, you know what, ladies? A male, by the way, I think you two should talk. And he left it at that, right, Tiffany? He just sent an email to us.
That is it.
We looked each other up and said, okay, she's got some cred, right? She's not somebody who just dropped into the cannabis industry who's pretending she's been doing something. I don't know how that happens, but sometimes it does. Yes. And we agreed to meet, and you and I just, honest to God, we just hit it off immediately, like within seconds. That's the way it should be.
I absolutely love it. I think that is important. Being willing to connect with people and expand your network and tribe is really key in feeling more comfortable and uplifting each other. That is something that when I speak with women in groups, is reminding that your tribe is really important, not in just that buzz phrase sense, but in the sense of having that stability and feeling confident, is being able to really have relationships at the network level with others who are like-minded. It strengthens your position and helps you to grow. And so when you're growing, you're able to help others. You're able to uplift others. And we should all be a part of the same network and the same tribe, not fighting against each other.
No.
There's enough out there to talk.
Right.
So
right.
That is some work there to be done.
I think also one of the things I want to mention, and I didn't display that a second ago because I'm trying to control myself, because this is so important, but the art of listening, right? As a kid, that's how I was raised. My dad taught me at a very early age that you need to listen. Don't listen to respond. Listen to listen. Listen to what they're trying to tell you. And if we listened more, rather than trying to respond, and I just demonstrated that when I caught myself and I shut myself up with my hand, it's just because I'm passionate about that topic, the art of listening. And I think that if we could listen to ourselves, not ourselves, but listen to the other person deeply, we'll then get where they're coming from, right? Because do you notice that sometimes people don't always listen, and they assume things that aren't really true because they're not listening, right?
Right. You're 100% correct. I call that not listening, but just waiting for your turn to speak. Because, there's lulls in conversation, pauses, and when someone's listening to you based on how they respond to your last sentence. And oftentimes you'll find if a person is not really listening to you and they're just waiting for their turn to speak, that it's just slightly askew, and you begin talking at each other. And so I also believe in that true art of listening. There's so much, people communicate in so many different ways. And if we're not willing to pay attention, then we're doing ourselves a disservice as well, not just them. They may have something valuable, but it's just not packaged the way that you think it is, so you're unable to hear it. So you need to just really slow down and catch how they're communicating and really listen to them. And I think it's a journey for a few people. It's not the first place that they arrive to, but it's a journey, and they'll get there for sure.
Yep. Because you know what? We're going to keep putting them on the boat. You know what I mean? We're going to get at that dock. Come on. Let's go. Get in.
Yes.
Put your life preserver vest thing on. I don't need one because I can swim. You can swim. But put it on, because we're going to do it again. And I think that that's a good point, right? Is that as leaders in this industry, because we're leaders, we're pioneers, it's also our duty to pay attention to what they're doing in response to what we're saying. Like you said, you're trying to ascertain if they're listening or not as a speaker, but do they really understand? So a lot of times for me, like I was talking to someone today who's a scientist, and and I'm a female, obviously. He's a male, and he's much older than me. So there's a big generation gap between me and him. And he happens to report to me too. So it's kind of, here I am, somebody who's 30 years younger than him. So I'm trying to explain to him what what are pirates in the industry? What does that mean, pirates? Because myself and one of my partners were on a Zoom with these people that were pirates. They were trying to steal from us. So people who are probably wondering, what is Christina talking about? Pirates, treasure chests? No, I talked about the boat. We're off the boat now. There are people who pirate your information. So, for example, it would be like me asking Tiffany about certain proprietary business things that she does specifically for Vanguard that is confidential and proprietary. In my world, if it's technology, it's my back end, right? What my tech guys are working on and what they're doing, the programming, the things they do. That's all proprietary. If it's clinical research, it's how I've figured out the therapeutic area we're going after and what our endpoints are, how we're going to collect data. That's all proprietary. When we're formulating at Spectral, of course, everybody's formulating products, right? But there's a team of people around us. We have partners, and that's proprietary and confidential. So if you're on a Zoom and people start trying to pigeon and figure out what's going on with who you're working with and all these things as they're writing notes down, because obviously I can see you're doing it because you're like, or you're typing. I can tell that too. I know that you're trying to steal information. So I was trying to explain to this person what pirates were. And there's a generation gap between us. I recognize that. But what I said to him, and the whole reason why I'm bringing this up is, you'll hear me say this a lot in our board meetings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm coming from? Or do you understand? Do you get it? And I'm not being condescending. I'm just trying to meet you where you're at in your thought process, because you might not think as crazy as my ADHD brain does. So, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to do that, don't you think? Like, to make sure they really do understand.
No, I do. I think it's fine to ask for the understanding of the room. I do speak publicly often, and you don't want to get too far in, and you still have some people going, well, I didn't quite get the theory of what you were talking about, or, I don't know, I didn't get that last point. So asking for the understanding of the room, I think is okay. It doesn't always have to be in a condescending way. And I can see how
Right.
people might take it depending on the situation, you know. But I think that's perfectly fine. And boy, do I love that you call it pirates, pirating. We usually refer to them as miners. They mine us for information.
Yes.
They're just digging and digging. You're like, I'm not going to tell you that. My IP is my own, you know. And just like I mean, if you're in, and most people, and pretentious sounding as it may be, most of the time, if I bring someone in to work with or consult, I always have them sign multiple documents from legal,
Oh, yeah.
just because it's necessary, because people will mine you. They'll come in with seemingly good intentions, but they're really just searching for your information, and just kind of your secret recipe, so to speak. And I go, I don't want to have to deal with that. Sign a few papers, and none of us in cannabis here are rebuilding the wheel.
No.
It's not. We're out there delving in a product that is the same in these little different varieties. Maybe you sell cannabis flower, maybe you grow flower, but maybe they also do the same thing as you. It's really more than proprietary secrets when it comes down to making money.
Right.
And I know that growers, you have your own personal genetics and things like that. And then with manufacturers, you have your special recipes. I get it, and protect those. Those are your intellectual property. But we do have to remind ourselves that we're out there all swimming in the same pool.
That's right. That's right. And if if we could all kind of go kind of in the same kind of direction collectively, if we could get there, we could all get there. Imagine how powerful we could be. This is what's wrong in the industry, in my opinion. As Tiffany started off earlier tonight, in my opinion. But honestly, everybody's trying to get ahead instead of coming together and trying to get together in a team environment. Imagine people are going to have to listen to us if we have people like you that are advocating for patients, making sure they have fair treatment, making sure they have products that they can have, that they can take safely because they have certificate of analysis. We know where the grow is. We know where we got everything from, right? Then your media presence and what you're doing with your media and how you're educating people on cannabis, on different topics within the industry. So people are constantly learning. You have someone like me who's a research person who came from the traditional side, trying to deploy the good practices over here, not the lying, stealing, all that other crap that goes on over there. That's not my goal. And to jack up prices. No, I want it to be affordable for patients. I'm trying to get it approved by insurance. The only way I can do that is if I do clinical studies and I practice good science and I'm safe and I show efficacy. With the advocacy we do, making sure that we see all sides of what's going on with these patients and helping them understand that it's not just taking a capsule, that you got from the dispensary or flower that you got, whatever, and you think that's the magic bullet. It's not the magic bullet. It's mind, body, and soul, in my opinion, which is what we talked about the whole month of May for mental health awareness. It's the diving board. We're jumping in, right? Some of us have our swimmies on. Some of us are doing the strokes because we've been in it. We know. But it's because we took that journey, Tiffany. We didn't just sit back one day and go, I'm a little bored. I think I'm just going to go do this now for a while. No, we went in it with intention to help people.
Absolutely. That's a great point that you're making, that mind, body, soul, wellness, homeostasis. I think that we all deserve to reach balance. Mm-hmm. It's so important. And the clinical research that you're doing and advocacy from other sides and technology are very essential in removing the kind of that shroud of doubt and propaganda that we've had to deal with. I always like to, and I probably should have said this from the top, 30 years ago, we couldn't work and have conversations like you and I are doing right now.
No.
we operated from the shadows. I was a first year college student, and I was studying computer sciences, and ultimately went on to get a double degree in network engineering. And by trade, for years, I was a network infrastructure engineer. And the whole while, I could never talk about patient advocacy, of which I was doing every free moment I got. We were getting medicine to people who we knew needed it. I was writing speeches, I was delivering speeches, I was getting thrown off the Capitol steps. Anything that we needed to get done, that was what my free time was. And when I look back on those times, what I know that meant most was us getting product and service to people who needed it, bringing them the freedom to choose their medical pathway. And whether people today want to view cannabis and psychedelic therapies as medicine or not, people get wellness from these things. And we all have the right to achieve that wellness in our own way. Mm-hmm. It is our path. That's not hippy dippy. That's not some ethereal nonsense. Those are just the facts. We are all here for a limited, finite amount of time, and the pathway that we walk is very important. Mm-hmm. It's important to each and every one of us, so we need not bar each other from our ways of reaching homeostasis and reaching balance within our own life, community, families, however you label. And so I think that the work, the number one, the work that I do and the work that you do and others by extension is really to reach that type of balance of wellness, which means removing stigma, prejudices, preconceived notions, whatever you pop out of the bag that's telling you to label it before you've even looked into it, removing those things so that we can have those freedoms.
And you know what's crazy about this? I'm sorry to bring this up, but it's like food. Okay. We have the freedom to choose what we put in our body. If someone chooses to eat saturated fats, they choose to eat them. You and I don't eat saturated fat. Do we go around town and elsewhere talking about the people who eat saturated fat? No. Because you know what? It's not our concern. It has nothing to do with us. Unless you try to make us eat saturated fat, which we're not going to eat, then it becomes our problem. The reason why I'm bringing this up, as stupid as saturated fat is, but viewers understand saturated fat. You know what I mean? So that is why I'm bringing this up, because I'm not trying to compare saturated fat to cannabis, everyone, but I'm trying to have you understand, again, meet me where I'm at in my processing. If you could go ahead and eat your saturated fat, why can't I? Why can't Tiffany? Why can't we consume our cannabis for our intended purposes? Whatever is wrong with us, if the reasons why we're doing it, I don't mean there's something wrong with us because we're taking cannabis. I see that because therapeutically, I'm always aligned with, okay, what's the issue? What's wrong with you? So I want everybody to understand there's nothing wrong with us because we take cannabis. I want to make sure that that's clear.
Exactly. And I agree wholeheartedly. Whatever reason you choose any therapy whatsoever, or it's just something that you wake up and you go, hey, you know what? I want to drink a cup of tea, and that tea has THC in it, or CBD in it, or CBN, or CBG, or whatever cannabinoid. Or maybe that tea has a little bit of psilocybin. Maybe you're, twice a year you go on retreat and you have ayahuasca. Maybe these are the things that you do for whatever reason. It doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is what someone else is trying to tell you are,
right,
because you've filled you've put this into your life.
Right.
And so as soon as we can understand and we can emotionally mature enough to understand that someone else's choice does not affect our personal life.
No.
When we can get to that point, we really can. That's where the healing is going to really start rapid rates of healing. That it'll start there when we can realize, yes, oh, your choice, it didn't affect me. It affects you.
Right.
Okay. Make your choice and I'll make mine.
That's
Because
right.
I think a lot of times, especially in cannabis, people get started. You say something against cannabis and they have 30 million facts as to why it's good, why it's not going to hurt you, and how you've been lied to. Well, that's wonderful, but we can't throw up on people about something we're passionate about just because we're passionate. They have the right not to believe. What they don't have the right to do is judge you and bar you from opportunity
Mm-hmm.
because you've chosen something that does not affect them. That's the main meat and potatoes of what needs to be removed so we can move forward with equity and fair space and get
Mm-hmm.
real true wellness in
Mm-hmm.
society is the
Mm-hmm.
removal of those types of prejudices and stigmas that block each and every one of us from opportunity. Because my blocked freedom is your blocked freedom.
So, and I know you and I could go on forever talking about all this, but I want to say something about this specifically that I went through with Christian, my son, which I don't think I ever even told you about this, Tiffany. But last year, I during COVID, well, kind of went through that. Um, Christian he had been diagnosed with, this part, multiple mental health disorders. So he sees my doctor, Dr. Donner, who you've heard me talk about all the time, and you've seen us side by side working together on multiple clinical research studies. But he's my physician. He's treated over thousands and thousands, and he's the physician for any of the patients that come in through APA. He joins us and he helps the patients, but also we can help them get certified for the patients in Pennsylvania through compassionate certification centers. I met with Dr. Donner in February of last year, so that it was actually February 13th. I have this photographic memory, so I remember dates. But I met him in Pittsburgh, and I took Christian with me. It was President's Day weekend, so that's why he had off from school. So I brought him up so that he could meet with Dr. Donner personally, face to face. It wasn't necessary, but I had to go up for business, so I took Christian along with me. And he helped Christian, right, with some of the things that we had going on. And he prescribed tincture, isolate, CBD, and the CCC label. First off, they have a certificate of analysis for everything. I know their source. I met with them personally, myself, with Dr. Donner, so I trust them implicitly. So here I get this tincture for Christian. And it says on there, no THC, right, on the bottle. 0% THC. It's isolate. He had a letter from the doctor, from Dr. Donner, saying to the nurse that he used to have this tincture at lunchtime, because tincture, for those of you that are viewing us tonight, it doesn't last in the human body for more than 4 to 6 hours, depending upon how you metabolize, and it's specific to you. Christian, it doesn't last more than 4 hours. He's a little guy, so he's constantly, his metabolic system is burning through everything, right? They're hungry all the time. You know what it's like. Here's some eat. They need to eat. So here, I bring the tincture into school with the doctor's note. Now, remember, we have a program in Pennsylvania for all the viewers out there, so we're allowed to have cannabis. But remember, Christian did not have cannabis. He had CBD. It was hemp-based CBD, no THC. Take it to the school. I get a call. I was waiting for the call from the nurse saying that it's made from the cannabis plant, so thereby being cannabis, which violated his rights under the Farm Bill now, which is a federal bill. So you know where I'm going to. So yes. I swing in hard, right? I'm like, I'm going to bring, I thank God I'm very respected by the governor here in our state, because I do a lot of research in Pennsylvania. They are pro-cannabis here. They know that Affinity Bio Partners and Affinity Patient Advocacy is here for the patients. So I was like, I was ready. I was ready. Then COVID happened and he got locked down in school, right? So then I was like, okay, well, this isn't an issue anymore for school for this year, right? I got to close my mind off to this right now, because I got to focus on having him at home, sitting right next to my desk, doing his schoolwork every day. I'm not a teacher. That was a nightmare. But what I did was I started working on the patches with Spectral. And so now my son wears 3 patches. He wears our immune boost patch. He wears another patch that I can't say what it is because of proprietary reasons. But it's not cannabis. It is an FAH inhibitor that's all natural. And then he has his ADHD patch that we formulated with our scientific team. So he wears a patch that lasts, luckily, for 24 hours. I no longer have this problem with the school. And I was even brazen enough, by accident, I forgot to put the patches on one morning because I put them on in the morning. We take our vitamins, all of our gummies, the zinc and all the stuff because of the COVID stuff that I know that we need to do antiviral. Here we go. We pop in our gummies of all our vitamins and I slap his patches on. Well, that day I forgot. I completely slipped my mind and I had to go see the allergist. So I went to go see the allergist on my way home. It's back to my home office. I stopped by the school, Tiffany. This was 2 weeks ago. Walked into the nurse's office and I said, I have to put my son's medicine on. They called him down from lunch. And there I go. Boop, boop, boop with the patch. They had nothing to say to me. Not a word.
What can they say? What can they say?
But here in fact lies the issue, doesn't it? You've got a parent who happens to be a leader in this space that's done all this work for Pennsylvania alone, just Pennsylvania. There's been states all over the place. I've been doing all this stuff. And you thought you were going to tell me that I can't let my son take his medicine for all the things that he has been diagnosed with. Who are you to tell me that he can't do that?
Right. They were willing to challenge your son's freedom of wellness and you as his caretaker and parent, your freedom to treat him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is precisely that's the battle that we need to win. 100%.
As moms, we're both moms, leaders in the cannabis space, advocates, women. Look, you and I can go on all night about this. For everybody listening today, please join us in helping people understand how important it is to observe your freedom. Whatever your freedom looks like, as long as it's not illegal. Don't rob a bank, please. But you know what I'm saying. You have the right to observe your freedom.
Yes, you do.
So, Tiffany, we got to have you back on if you'd be open to joining us again.
Oh, sure. I had a great time. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been fabulous. Can you tell everybody how they can get in contact with you? Because that's really important.
Absolutely. It's really easy. Go to www.vanguardmediaonline.com and click around. You can send us a message. You can connect with us on social media. Or you can click and you can buy tickets to the upcoming event in July. And we hope to see you. Super excited.
I hope everybody supports that event. I will be supporting your event. You know I will. I'm always a ride or die, just as you are for me. I think that we need to continue to set that stage for everybody that listens to us and views us. And I'm so blessed to have had you on the show today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and the allergy season and getting ready for the award show and everything that you're doing. I really sincerely appreciate you. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to leave you guys with 2 things. Remember, we are the same, and I am Christina DiArcangelo. Have a good night, day, whatever it is that you're viewing us. And thank you again, Tiffany.